Do you know that Canada Study Visa has conditions in 2024? What will happen if you do not meet the study visa conditions? Who all are exempt from these conditions? There is no need for a work permit on study visa to work. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Pawan Speaks Canada. I hope everybody is doing well. So in today's video, I will be discussing about updates on Canada Study Visa and its conditions in 2024. How will these conditions will impact you? Who all are exempt from these conditions? And also we will be discussing about that work permit is not mandatory to work in Canada on study permit. So before we start, in case you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe so that you keep yourself updated with all important information about Canada from time to time. So all the international students who wish to study at a Canadian post-secondary institute needs to provide a letter of acceptance from a DLI, that is Designated Learning Institute, when they are applying for a study visa or becoming eligible for a PGWP. There are a lot of people who have prepared videos and talked about various changes in study visa in 2024 or the various updates, but nobody has ever talked about the basic conditions which comes with study visa. And all, if you do not follow these conditions for the visa, you will be in trouble, and also it could lead to a deportation. So now I'm going to talk about various conditions for study visa. The first one is travel capabilities, and the second one is work authorization. So first I'm going to talk about travel capabilities. This happens with most of the people, that when you are in Canada as a student, after some time you get homesick and you wanted to go back to your home country of origin to meet your friends, your family, or you want to go abroad for vacation. There is no issue with traveling or moving out of the country for vacation on study visa as per the Canadian government. But there are certain guidelines which you have to follow to re-enter Canada as an international student. So I'm going to talk about these guidelines. The first guidelines are you should have a valid permit, approval for a study permit or a study permit extension. You should have a valid passport or travel document, DLI. You are attending a designated learning institute. You should have a valid visitor visa. Now you must be confused that do you also need a visitor visa in case you are already on a study permit? The answer to this question is no, you do not need one, because they already issue you a visitor visa when you get a study permit. This is only for the people who are visiting for the first time or in the process of applying for a study visa. Although we have talked about travel conditions or travel guidelines that international students have on their study permit, now let's talk about what are the consequences for not meeting study permit conditions. Sometimes unknowingly we miss out to follow the guidelines. So in case you fail to meet the study permit conditions, it can lead to student can lose their status and study permit. They might be asked to leave Canada. Students might be asked to wait for 6 months for new study permit, visitor visa or work permit. Now there must be a lot of students who might be thinking who all are exempt from these conditions or what they can do to be an exempt from these conditions. So now I'm going to talk about who is exempt from study permit conditions. If you meet all of your study permit conditions, you get to keep your study permit and status as a student. But there are some study permit holders who are also exempt from such conditions, such as refugee status. In case you have a refugee status in Canada, then you are exempt from these conditions. Refugee claim, you or your family member has made a refugee claim in Canada that hasn't been decided on yet. Convention refugee, you or your family member are convention refugee or on humanitarian protected person. Member of foreign armed forces, you or your family member is a member of foreign armed forces in Canada and which are on official duties. Family member, for the family members of someone who lives in Canada, spouse or dependent child who holds a Canadian study or work permit, Canadian temporary resident permit valid for 6 months, is participating in sports activity or event in Canada. Now what I'm going to talk about something which is very important for all the students, because most of the international students studying in Canada want to work and make money side by side. So please pay attention to it to understand it much better. So if you're allowed by the condition of your work permit, students can work on or off campus, and for that they do not need a separate work permit. But remember, students can only start working when they start their studies, not before that. Normally what happens is that students are allowed to work on or off campus, and that is always listed on the study permit that you're allowed to work on or off work campus or not. Now I'm going to talk about eligibility criteria for on-campus work. So who all are eligible to work on campus? Also guys, you do not need a separate work permit to work on your school. Eligibilities for on-campus work. The first is full-time student. You are a full-time post-secondary student for school such as college, university, trade or tech school in Quebec. Private or public secondary school, you should be in an institution in Quebec offering a quality program for 900 hours. Printed condition on study permit. In case you have a printed condition on your student permit saying that you can work on campus. Social insurance number, you should have a social insurance number. So after covering who all can work on campus, I will tell you which all students or conditions in which you cannot work on campus. No full study status. On the day you stop studying full time unless you are in the final semester. The next one is authorized leave from studies. In case you are in authorized leave from studies, then you cannot. Switching schools. In case you are switching schools and currently not studying, you can't work on campus. Now I'm going to talk about what is very common among most of the students, because maximum number of students are not eligible for on-campus work. So now I will be covering about off-campus work. But remember, you can only start working when your study program has started. You cannot work before you start your studies. It will be also mentioned on your study permit if you are eligible to work for off-campus work, and you do not need a work permit for the same. So let's talk about the eligibility requirement for off-campus. You can work off-campus without work permit if you meet these requirements, such as full-time student. You should be a full-time student of a designated learning institute. Next is enrollment. You are enrolled in either of the following: post-secondary, academic, vocational or professional program. The tenure of the program, your study program is at least 6 months long and can lead to a degree, diploma or certificate. Social insurance number, you should have a social insurance number and you must be studying. There is a golden tip that I wanted to give it to you. So when you receive your study permit, and in case it does not have condition on it, you can ask to have these conditions added. If you're eligible to work off campus, and there is no fees that will be added to add these conditions to your permit. And in case any amendment request needs to be made to your study permit, do that before you apply for your social insurance number to Service Canada. There is a lot of discussion that I see that is going around about the number of hours which a student can work on a study permit. So how many hours student can work off campus? So let's talk about how many hours student can work off campus. Up to 20 hours per week. Students can work up to 20 hours per week, and you can work more than one job to make up for these 20 hours. Now the most important thing which everybody wanted to do is work more than 20 hours off campus. So as per the latest update from Government of Canada, from November 15, 2023 up till December 31st, 2023, you can work more than 20 hours per week off campus while class in session based on two conditions. If you have applied for student visa on or before October 7, 2022, number B, if you have applied for student permit extension after October 7, 2022. So with this, we come to the end of this video. I hope you have liked it. If you like the video, please hit the like button and share it with maximum number of people so that they are also aware of the conditions for study permit. And in case you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe so that you keep yourself updated with all the updated information about Canada from time to time. So thank you for watching Pawan Speaks Canada. All the best. See you soon in my next video. Thank you.